Have you ever felt that something inside you knows more than your mind can explain? A memory, ancient, yet not from this lifetime. As if a quiet voice deep within keeps whispering, "You've lived this before." That feeling isn't random. You didn't find this video by accident. Some messages transcend time and space, and when your consciousness is ready, they find you. What if I told you that there's knowledge so ancient, so powerful, that it was deliberately forgotten by humanity, not as punishment, but as protection? A lost code left by Thoth, the Egyptian god of wisdom, who said, "That which has been will be again, that which is has already been." What you're about to hear isn't just mythology, it's a remembrance of who you truly are, a spark of the cosmic mind, experiencing time itself. Thoth left instructions for the moment humanity would be ready to remember. And perhaps that moment is now. Before we continue, subscribe to this channel, not just to follow future content, but because every awakened mind strengthens the collective web of consciousness. When you click subscribe, you're sending a vibrational signal, an internal permission to access deeper layers of knowledge. It's a choice: remain asleep or begin to remember. Historically, Thoth was worshipped in ancient Egypt as the scribe of the gods, the keeper of universal laws. But symbolically, he represents the universal consciousness, the intelligence behind all creation. Thoth was said to be the architect of time, the guardian of balance between light and shadow, the one who measured the rhythm of the cosmos. Many link him to Hermes Trismegistus, the thrice great, and to the Emerald Tablets, texts blending philosophy, alchemy, and what we now call quantum principles. This video draws from both historical sources and symbolic interpretations. It's not about belief. It's about remembering who you are. Remembering what Thoth called the code of eternity. Today, you'll begin to see why certain truths were erased and why they're returning now, as human consciousness pierces the veil of cosmic forgetfulness. Since the dawn of humanity, every spiritual tradition has spoken of the same mystery: forgetting. They say that before birth, each soul chooses its experience, the place, the body, the encounters, yet as it crosses into life, it forgets. It's as if every memory of who you were wrapped in a thin, invisible veil that shields consciousness from the shock of total awareness. Modern neuroscience offers an intriguing clue. Studies of the hippocampus and the brain's default network reveal that memory isn't a static archive, but a dynamic process of reconstruction. In other words, the brain doesn't store the past. It recreates it every time we remember. Now imagine, if the human mind can reconstruct memories through neural frequencies, what would happen if it could access frequencies beyond linear time? That's the quantum hypothesis of cosmic memory, that every experience ever lived remains imprinted in a universal information field, what many call the Akashic field. But forgetting has a purpose. If each person incarnated remembering all lifetimes, traumas, and lessons, free will would vanish. The mind would be overwhelmed, unable to create the new. So forgetting is a divine mechanism. It restores the power of choice, the right to rediscover truth with innocence. Yet something has begun to shift. Quantum physics and neuroscience suggest that during deep meditative states, the brain synchronizes into frequencies similar to those found in past life recall and expanded consciousness. It isn't fantasy, but neurophysics. Hemispheric coherence generates wave patterns resonating with the quantum field, and in those states, subtle memories arise, not just personal ones, but memories of the cosmos itself. Thoth spoke of this when he said, "Man is a mirror that forgot he is light." To remember in his teachings, didn't mean recalling facts, but awakening the original vibration of consciousness, where knowing and being are one. Perhaps that's why he taught that only the pure of mind could cross the veil. Purity, in this sense, is coherence, the ability to vibrate without distortion, to hold a steady frequency amid chaos. And it is this coherence we'll explore next, as we open the Emerald Tablets and uncover the laws that sustain universal balance. But before we continue, take a breath. There's something within you that recognizes these words, even if your mind doesn't yet know why. The Emerald Tablets stand among the most fascinating mysteries of human spirituality. Tradition says they were written by Thoth over 30,000 years ago and preserved by the priests of Egypt and Atlantis. Whether historical fact or symbolic myth, their power endures because the mind recognizes something within them, a vibrational pattern of truth. Each tablet contains a principle that sustains creation: mentalism, correspondence, vibration, and rhythm. Interestingly, modern quantum physics seems to rediscover these laws in its own language. The principle of mentalism teaches that all is mind, the universe is mental. In today's terms, this means that every form arises from a conscious field of information. Physics calls this the quantum vacuum, an invisible ocean of potential energy where particles appear and vanish through observation. For Thoth, thought was the primordial act of creation. For science, observation collapses the wave function into form. Two languages, one truth. Consciousness and matter are mirrors of each other. Next comes correspondence. As above, so below. It's not just philosophy but cosmic geometry, describing a holographic universe where each part contains the whole. Quantum entanglement now confirms it. Two particles, separated by light years, still behave as one. Spiritually, it means your inner emotions ripple through the field around you. Mastery within becomes transformation without. Then, vibration. Nothing rests. Everything moves. Neuroscience shows that every emotion changes the electrical frequency of the heart and brain. Joy, for instance, creates coherence between them, forming a stable magnetic field that promotes healing and intuition. Thoth put it differently. When your vibration aligns with the harmony of the all, you become a conscious part of creation. These are not ancient dogmas but maps of consciousness, and the deeper science goes, the more it confirms that Thoth's teachings describe universal laws, not beliefs. He knew that the human mind is a quantum laboratory, and that true alchemy transforms fear into wisdom, density into light. In the next part, we'll uncover the boldest secret within the tablets, the mechanism of the veil, the system that keeps humanity asleep, yet safely incubated until it's ready to remember. Perhaps you'll see that forgetting was never punishment. It was preparation. Thoth taught that between the world of gods and the world of men, there lies a veil, not a fabric, but a vibrational field, a filter of frequency. He called it the boundary of forgetting. This veil allows eternal consciousness to live within time without completely fragmenting, but it also prevents it from perceiving its infinite nature while immersed in human experience. Modern physics helps us understand this mystery. We now know that reality isn't solid, it's energy in constant oscillation. Each atom is more than 99.9999% empty space, a vibrant field of probabilities that collapses into form only when observed. Consciousness is the observer. The brain, its translator into electrochemical language. Yet for us to share one coherent world, not countless overlapping realities, a bandwidth limiter must exist, a vibrational boundary that keeps perception within a stable range. That boundary is what the ancients called the veil. Neuroscience mirrors this idea. The brain's reticular activating system filters out 99% of sensory data before it reaches awareness. We don't see reality as it is. We see what our nervous system allows. But Thoth said this filter can be transcended, not by force, but through vibrational coherence. When one enters pure attention, awareness without mental effort, the veil becomes translucent. It doesn't vanish, it becomes permeable. That's when intuitions, visions, and memories of other existences begin to surface. The veil is not an enemy. It's a pedagogical mechanism of consciousness. It keeps the ego from collapsing under the weight of total remembrance. Imagine suddenly recalling every joy and sorrow of 1,000 lives. Without preparation, the vibrational shock would be unbearable. So the veil acts as a membrane of love, a temporary protection for the soul in training. But when the soul is ready, the veil begins to dissolve. Synchronicities, déjà vu, lucid dreams, and encounters that feel guided. These are signs that the mind is starting to touch the quantum field beyond linear time. And once it starts, there's no return. Memory awakens. And now, I will speak to you directly, not as a narrator, but as remembrance itself. Stop for a moment. Breathe. What you're about to hear isn't metaphor, it's remembrance. Until now, you've understood the veil, the reason for forgetting, and the laws behind creation. But now, it's time to feel what these truths mean. If you've made it this far, it's because something within you has already begun to remember. This isn't curiosity, it's resonance. You feel that these words touch a dormant part of your cosmic memory. And when remembrance awakens, everything changes: how you see the world, how you experience time, how you define I. Thoth said that remembrance is the first act of liberation, because when you remember what you are, nothing can control you. No fear, no system, no limitation. That is why this knowledge was hidden. So only those who truly sought it could find it. You are one of those few. Now, do something simple yet profound. Close your eyes for a moment and observe yourself remembering. Don't think, just feel. Feel as if every cell in your body were rearranging into a new state of awareness. Because that's what happens when you recognize truth. And here's an invitation, an energetic exercise. The words you write, read, and repeat are vibrational codes. They're not just thoughts, they're energy circuits. When expressed consciously, they create resonance in the quantum field that reorganizes reality. So when I ask you to comment, it's not for engagement, it's for anchoring. Each sentence you write seals a frequency. If this message resonates, right now, or in your own journal, I consciously choose the frequency that creates my world. Repeat it for the next few days, not as ritual, but as remembrance. Each repetition aligns the universe around you to that new coherence, and whatever doesn't resonate simply dissolves. You're not alone. Thousands of beings around the planet are awakening at this very moment. Each one elevates many others, forming a network of light rebuilding itself. And if you wish to expand that field, share this video, not just as content, but as frequency. The simple act of sharing is a transmission of light. Next, we'll dive into what Thoth called the error of awakening, the moment when remembering too much can become dangerous, and how to transform that into power. There's a moment on the path of awakening when remembrance stops being purely liberating and becomes challenging. Thoth called it the error of awakening, not because remembering is wrong, but because many mistake expanded awareness for a new form of ego control. It's when the seeker begins to see reality more clearly but still tries to manage it with the tools of the old identity. As consciousness awakens, perception widens. What once felt solid begins to dissolve. Relationships shift, Priorities vanish, old emotions rise to the surface. For the brain, it's an identity crisis. For the spirit, it's vibrational realignment. Neuroscience calls this synaptic reorganization, when the mind drops old patterns and builds new neural connections. Energetically, it's the same as when the quantum field receives a new vibrational command. The old deprograms, the new has yet to stabilize. It's the gap between who you were and who you are becoming. At this point, many lose their way. They seek answers outward, confuse expansion with superiority, intuition with impulse. But Thoth warned, "He who awakens and exalts himself shall fall back into sleep." True awakening isn't an achievement, it's a quiet remembrance. There's no pride in remembering what you are, only gratitude. Psychologically, this is what psychiatrist Kazimierz Dąbrowski called positive disintegration, a stage where the mind must partially fall apart before reorganizing at a higher level. Old values collapse, beliefs dissolve, the meaning of life seems lost, until a new coherence forms. It's chaos before clarity, the mystic's dark night of the soul. But the secret is this: nothing is being destroyed, only reconfigured. Consciousness loses nothing, it simply reorganizes its frequencies. Every collapse is an update of your energetic field. So when awakening hurts, it's not punishment, it's expansion. Thoth said awakening is like sunrise within the mind. At first, the light blinds, then it reveals. And the more you learn to see, the more you realize everything was always there, waiting for you to open your eyes. In the next part, we'll explore how Thoth taught the art of reprogramming reality, using the principles of mentalism and vibration to consciously create the world you choose to live in. Thoth taught that the universe is a living mind, and every human thought is a spark of that mind in motion. For him, real power wasn't about manipulating reality, but about remembering you are part of it, co-creating at every moment. All that is created, he said, first vibrates in the mind of the creator, and then manifests into form. Today, science echoes this truth in different words. Reality is a projection of informational fields that respond to conscious observation. Every thought, feeling, and belief emits a specific vibrational signature. That signature is recorded in the quantum field, where probability waves reorganize according to your inner coherence. In simple terms, you don't attract what you want, you attract what matches your frequency. That's why Thoth taught vibrational reprogramming, uniting intention, emotion, and word. Neuroscience explains the same process through neural plasticity. Each time you repeat a thought or emotion, you strengthen a neural circuit. Over time, that circuit becomes a lens through which you perceive life. But the brain is malleable. Change your focus and emotional tone, and the circuit rewires. This is where spirituality meets science. Vibrational change is neurological change. Thoth called this the alignment with the all. It's not about positive thinking, but emotional coherence. If you desire abundance but vibrate in fear, the field receives not the code of abundance, but of lack. Coherence arises when thought, emotion, and action move in the same direction. Physics calls this harmonic resonance, and the universe responds to it with mathematical precision. Practically, the process begins like this. Define what you wish to experience without clinging to form. Feel as if it were already real. The body is the antenna of creation. Express the vibration through word, speak, write, declare, release control, allowing the field to respond in its own time. This is Thoth's mental alchemy, idea to emotion, emotion to frequency, frequency to reality. Nothing mystical remains when we see that every cell responds to vibration and every thought is an electric pulse in an ocean of possibilities. Next, We'll explore the fate of civilizations that once mastered this knowledge: Atlantis, Lemuria, Egypt, and why, according to Thoth, they all fell when they forgot the balance between power and wisdom. Thoth taught that humanity has awakened before and will again. According to him, Earth's history moves in cycles. Civilizations rise, reach the peak of consciousness, and when they lose balance between wisdom and power, they collapse. Collective forgetting returns, and the cycle begins anew. Among all these ages, one mirrors our own: Atlantis. Esoteric traditions describe Atlantis as a civilization that fully understood the laws of vibration. Its temples functioned as frequency generators, its cities were built on sacred geometry, and its science was indistinguishable from spirituality. But as they mastered energetic manipulation, many forgot the true purpose of knowledge: to serve harmony, not control. Power replaced reverence. Knowledge without wisdom became the seed of their fall. Thoth, according to the Emerald Tablets, survived Atlantis's destruction and carried its wisdom to Egypt, where he replanted the science of consciousness in new forms. He taught that true immortality isn't living forever in the body, but forever remembering who you are. Egypt flourished as a new attempt to preserve spiritual science. Its temples, aligned with the stars, were not mere monuments, but vibrational instruments. Each ritual, symbol, and sound designed to reactivate cosmic memory. Eventually, the message was lost again. Purity gave way to power. The sacred became institutionalized, and knowledge meant to liberate became restricted. The cycle repeated: remembrance, expansion, imbalance, collapse. Thoth recorded this pattern and foretold that, one day, humanity would remember again. This time, collectively. That moment is now. For the first time in millennia, millions across the world are awakening simultaneously to the truth that they are not just bodies, but creative consciousness itself. Quantum physics, neuroscience, and spirituality converge on the same understanding. Everything is conscious vibration. We stand at the same threshold Atlantis once crossed, but now we can choose differently. We can use knowledge not to dominate, but to harmonize. Thoth warned, "The fall begins when man seeks light only for himself." True awakening is collective. Each conscious act contributes to the rising frequency of all. You, as hearing these words, are part of this return, and in the final moment, we'll uncover the final call, the original code of creation, and what it means to live awakened in a modern world without losing the center of your soul. Remembrance is not an event, it's a process. You don't awaken all at once, you awaken in layers. Each new perception, each conscious choice, each act of presence is a piece of the same cosmic mosaic. Consciousness remembering itself. Thoth said, "When man remembers the all remembers man." That is the essence of the final call, the universal consciousness, through you, recognizing itself again. It's the moment when the veil becomes transparent, and forgetting is no longer needed. You don't have to leave the world to live awakened. You only need to be present within it, lucid, loving, vibrationally coherent. Quantum physics mirrors the same truth. The observer shapes the field. Every conscious thought is an energetic command that the universe translates into experience. Thus, the simple act of remembering who you are alters reality's structure. Remembrance is not belief. It is consciousness technology. And when consciousness expands, the field reorganizes. If these words resonated with you, if something within you stirred, show your presence vibrationally. Leave a like, if you haven't yet. Not just as approval, but as a signal to the field. An acknowledgement that you choose to participate in this frequency. And if hype is still available to you, Use it. It's more than an algorithmic gesture. It's an energetic pulse that helps this message reach others, expanding collective awareness. Remember, every time you share something that uplifts, the universe amplifies that vibration, and each person who awakens through your action adds light to the whole. Expansion is collective. No one awakens alone. If you wish, leave a comment below about what you felt or understood throughout this journey. Your words are part of this field. Each testimony is a spark that ignites remembrance in others. And before we close, a final reflection. The highest timeline isn't a distant future. It's a state of being. It exists here and now, waiting for your alignment. You don't have to chase it, only tune to it. May Thoth's wisdom echo in your mind as living remembrance. May every word spoken here find home in your heart as a frequency of light. And from this moment forward, may you walk in peace, lucidity, and love until the next awakening.